Good morning, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Facebook Live with Farrington Nature Link. My name's Sarah Kasevich. I'm the program director with Farrington, and I am so excited to be having some fun with all of you who are tuning in this morning for Farrington Nature Link's first ever Facebook Live event. For those of you who maybe are just getting to know us, to fill you in, our mission is to enhance the well-being of children from low-income communities through a connection with the natural world. We're based in Lincoln, Mass, and we work with primarily urban communities throughout Greater Boston. But of course, as with many of you, we are shifting gears to be reaching out to our community and doing some fun and educational things, mostly virtually, throughout this coronavirus situation for however long it lasts. So thank you for joining with us in this experiment, and we're gonna see how it goes. We are gonna spend some time relaxing today as well. Today is our first event and what will be a series of Facebook Live happenings. We'll be doing this every Monday for the time being, and we're also hoping to maybe add in a second day during the week here and there once we kind of get the hang of things. We're hoping to do both outdoor explorations as well as indoor things like this, or like crafts, different kind of nature-inspired art activities. We'll also be posting pretty much every day to highlight a different nature-inspired activity that you can do at home. Whether you're a kid or even if you're an adult, or certainly if you're a parent or a caregiver at home with a kid, you're looking for something to do, you're looking for a way to either get outside safely with social distancing or to bring nature inside. We're hoping to definitely bring the fun and help everybody stay connected. So for today, animal yoga is our theme, and we won't be using any live animals, but instead what we'll be doing is I'll be leading you through a series of fun and relaxing, playful yoga poses that are inspired by animals. So those of you that have maybe done a little bit of yoga before, or maybe even if you haven't, you can probably imagine that there are some poses that you're already familiar with that have English names that are based on animals. So for example, downward dog is a yoga pose that a lot of people have probably heard of. Cat and cow are familiar to a lot of people. So we'll be doing those, and we'll also be bringing in some other poses that maybe you've done before but didn't realize that they might kind of look or feel like an animal. So if you're following along at home, definitely want to encourage you to be breathing throughout everything that we're doing. So I might try to remember to take inhales as we're shifting into a pose and exhales we're shifting out. Let's just practice a good inhale and an exhale right now. So on the inhale, you're gonna want to inflate your belly. Good air through your nose. And on the exhale, pushing everything out gently. Let's try another one. And exhale. Also want to give you a heads up that I'm using my iPad right now to record this video, so I won't be able to answer questions kind of in real time, but our team will be checking any questions and comments after the video is over, which we'll be posting it to Facebook so that it's located there permanently. So definitely feel free to interact with us, comment, ask us questions. Also wanted to note that, especially if you are a kid or maybe a kid at heart, feel free to make animal noises during the poses. I might try to remind you of that here and there, but definitely if you're at home, have fun with that along with your breathing. Also really want to encourage you to practice safely. So I'll be trying to give people different options for ways that they might do the pose one way, or they might extend it to another way, depending on your level of comfort or flexibility. Everybody's body is different. So I really want to encourage you to use choice, do what feels comfortable for your body, and definitely, get playful with this. If you have seen an animal that does a pose kind of like what we're doing, but maybe a little bit different, go for it. If something feels good to you and it's not exactly what I'm modeling, do it your way. You can even feel free to create your own pose if you have a moment of inspiration. All right, so to get started, we are going to start off kind of like in a tabletop position. We're going to start off with cat-cow. So my hands are pretty much below my shoulders. My knees are pretty much below my hips. I'm going to have just the tiniest bend in my elbows so that my arms aren't locked. And we're going to start by pressing our spine up and looking down. And this is cat, I believe. Sometimes I mix them up. So if you're at home now, go ahead and give a little meow or a purr. This is cat. Don't forget to inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to curve our spine back down, and this is cow. So right now, I've pulled my tailbone and my belly button down a little bit towards the mat, and I'm pressing forward through my shoulders. I'm not extending my head and my neck too much. You really want to be careful with that. We're going to inhale again, press our spine up, and try to pull in your belly button, and really try to round each vertebrae or little piece of your spine and your back. And exhale out, curve your spine down again, and inhale, curve up. On the exhale, let's give a little moo. All right, so now we're gonna step back into downward dog, which is a pretty common yoga pose that you may or may not have tried before. So I'm gonna move my hands forward just a little bit. My feet, I'm gonna get up onto my toes and then press the bottoms of my feet into the mat. You might be able to get your heels down. You might have them a little bit off the floor. So my head is gonna be between my arms, and I'm gonna be pushing my tailbone, my low back toward the wall behind me. So who thinks this looks like a dog? I do. I like to imagine a puppy stretching itself out like this. Don't forget to breathe. Take maybe 2 more inhales and exhales here if that's comfortable for you. And from here, we're gonna either take small steps or take one big step forward with one foot and one step forward with your other foot. So your feet are gonna be pretty close together at the front of your mat or the floor, whatever is your practice space. And you're gonna bend over, so you might have your hands on your thighs, you might have your hands on your knees, on your shins, on your feet or the floor. And remember not to lock your knees here. You're gonna have just a very gentle slight bend. And this is just a really great stretch. I don't have an animal name for this, maybe you do. So from here, we're gonna come up, slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. You might not be able to see me quite fully, but that's okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have our feet firmly planted on the ground. Again, just a really gentle, soft bend in your knees. And from here, we're gonna sweep our arms up. And this pose, we're gonna call giraffe. I'll get down on my knees so that you can see me, but you can stay standing if you are comfortable that way. So my arms are up. My hands are gonna be flat with my fingertips pointing up. And I'm gonna reach like we're a giraffe that's munching and looking for some leaves to eat. Should feel a nice stretch in your rib cage, maybe in your waist, your shoulders. Keep moving a little bit. Your giraffe stretching for some leaves to eat. All right. And now we're going to come back down. I'm going to rotate my camera angle here so that you can see me a little bit better for the next pose. All right, I wasn't able to rotate it. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to be standing. We're going to have our hands pressed together, palms pressed together on our chest. And we're going to gently shift our weight into just one leg. So for me, it's in my left foot right now. And I'm going to bring my right foot up to either rest the balls of my feet on the floor to stabilize myself, or I'm going to bring it up so that the bottom of my foot is flat on my calf. Some people are able to bring their foot up a little bit more and press it into their inner thigh. I'm not quite able to do that. You definitely don't want to have it pressing on your knee because that can create some strain. So right now I'm going to keep mine on my calf. And you're going to press your knee back a little bit and try to open up your hip. So this pose, we're going to call this bird. And what we're going to do, if you're comfortable, once you feel balanced, is bring your hands up, stretch up, and open them out. And you're going to flatten your palms and reach your fingertips up. So we're a bird that's stretching out. Maybe our leg is our wing, maybe our arms are our wings. Come back down. Stretch out that foot that was bearing the weight. Then we're going to shift our weight into the other foot that you haven't done yet. And we are going to open our bird wings on the other side. Don't forget to inhale and exhale as you raise your arms up. Maybe flap those bird wings. Awesome job. And you're going to bring your foot down and bring your hands up. All right, we are doing great on time. So we're going to transition back into downward dog and then move on to some other poses. So turn your feet back in either direction. You're going to plant your hands down with your head looking down in between them, feet back. Press your tailbone, lower back towards the wall. And then we're going to try to come up into what normally is called kind of like a high plank. So you might need to shift your hands forward a little bit and your feet back. And you're going to have your arms pretty much straight with just a little bend. And this is our crocodile. So we're going to go hump, 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 chomp, chomp, chomp. And then we're going to come down, bend your elbows, lower your weight down. You could also bring your knees down first and then lower. So from here, just take a nice breath. We're going to inhale and very gently curve our spine up. Bring our shoulders and chest and maybe your belly button if that's comfortable off the ground. And our head is going to look forward. Make sure not to throw your neck and your head back too far. And I'm engaging my butt here and my lower back. And this, you might have heard it called cobra before if you've practiced yoga. We're going to think of this as a cobra or a snake. I know I've definitely seen a lot of snakes over at Farrington Nature Link and in the Massachusetts area in general. All right, we are going to move on into that same kind of tabletop type of position that we started in when we were getting into cat-cow. I'm going to give myself a little bit more room here. And this one is inspired after a fox. So foxes are an animal that we like to talk about at Farrington. Once in a while we see them. And I know that they like to move pretty quickly and they're known for being kind of sly. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to shift my weight into my left knee and my right hand. So opposite hand, opposite knee. I'm gonna start by taking my right leg and straightening it out behind me. I don't have a lot of room here. You can point your toe, and then you can either stay like this. You can also rest your toe on the ground for balance. You can also try lifting your opposite arm. So for me, it's my left. Up and out. I'm pointing my fingertips. I'm stretching. I'm trying to get my toes and my fingertips as far apart as possible. So I'm like a running fox right now, scampering through the forest. Very nice. Don't forget to breathe. Gonna bring my hand and foot back, and I'm gonna switch. So opposite hand, opposite leg. On the other side, stretch, stretch, stretch. Inhale and exhale. Awesome. Alrighty, from here, you can either transition into tabletop and just kind of stand up in whatever way is comfortable for you. Another option is to take one leg forward, just kind of step it between your hands, and then curl the toes that are behind you, curl them under, and press up into a kind of lunge. Maybe flatten your foot out and turn it at an angle. And then you're gonna come up into a warrior position, which we could probably think of a cool animal name for that. This is just gonna transition us, and I'm gonna flip around so I'm facing you, into having our legs nice and wide here. I've got my feet not quite as straightforward. My toes are a little bit out. My hips are facing you all, and this is our elephant pose. So if you can imagine an elephant kind of lumbering along, they're really big, and they've got those big, huge legs supporting their bodies, and then we're gonna dip our trunks down to get some water maybe. So sometimes I like to do this with my hands on my hips, and then again, don't lock your knees, just a gentle bend. We're gonna lean forward, bend very slowly. Some folks, this might be comfortable. For others, you might wanna keep going. If you need a little bit more of a stretch, and then lower your hands to the ground. Can kind of let go of your head a little, let go of your head and neck tension a little bit. And just kind of let your head hang there, pretending that you're an elephant. You can gently rock. You're looking for some water. You're using your trunk. Awesome. So we're going to slowly crawl our hands back together. And we're going to kind of rotate our feet back in. And then I'm going to have my feet maybe just a tiny bit more than hip width apart. And then we're going to bend, if this is comfortable for you. We're going to bend and have our legs open, our knees out. And however far you're able to get, you might be able to use your elbows to push your thighs out a little bit more and keep your palms together. This is our frog pose. This is an awesome time of year for frogs, isn't it? Has anybody seen any frogs out there so far? Maybe if you live near the woods or even a park, especially if there's a little bit of wetlands or anything like that, the frogs are definitely starting to come out. Okay, so we're gonna carefully shift to a seated position now, and we're gonna keep going with that idea of having our knees out, but I'm gonna press the bottom of my feet together. For some of you, it might be more comfortable to have your knees more up like this, or your feet a little bit further out. For me, I like to have my feet a little bit closer into my body. You can start off by grabbing onto your toes if that's comfortable. And what do you think this one looks like? I think this looks like a butterfly. Let's just play around a little bit. Pretend our legs are butterfly wings. Gonna move them up and down gently. Pretend we're monarch butterflies, maybe migrating back to North America from their winter in South America. And if it feels good, you can grab onto your toes and try to bend forward from the base of your spine a little bit. Try not to arch your head and your shoulders too much until you come forward a little bit using your spine. That's a really nice low back stretch for me, at least. I'm loving thinking about butterflies and all of the happiness and warm weather inspiration that they bring and their bright colors. Don't forget to exhale. This is a great place, if you're comfortable, to take another couple breaths. And exhale. Awesome. So from here, we are gonna transition back up onto our knees in our tabletop position. We're gonna do another little series of cat-cow since we've got that one down. So again, your hands are below your shoulders, elbows just a tiny bit bent, knees below your hips. We're gonna use that breath to arch our spine up. Meow. And then arch down, pull up through the tops of the shoulders in the front. Moo. Just kind of go at your own pace here, waking up the spine. Awesome, and then we're gonna stretch out a little bit further and get into our last downward dog. Press that tailbone back. Okay, gonna come down on our knees and then flip over and get onto our backs. You're gonna start on your back with your knees bent and your feet planted on the floor, pretty much hip width distance apart. And you're gonna try to crawl the heels of your feet back as close to your core and your butt as you can get. You're gonna stretch your arms out, and if you can reach your heels with your fingertips, that's a really good place to be. You might not quite be able to get there, and that's okay too. What we're doing right now is we're getting ready to move into fish pose. So you might be saying, how is this gonna be a fish? And I like to think of it as a fish that's gurgling. They're kind of coming up out of the water with their mouths wide open, and they're gurgling water. So you can either stay right here if that feels good. Another option is to take one leg and swing that knee out and have the outside of your ankle pressing into your thigh. That's a nice stretch there. You could do it on both sides. If you want to move forward into the gurgling fish position, you're going to press your hands and your shoulder blades into the ground. You might be able to kind of walk your shoulders a little bit under you, so you're kind of pinching in your shoulder blades together. You can either press your palms into the ground, and you can see that I'm lifting my tailbone up now. My back is mostly off the ground, but I've got my weight in my feet and in the tops of my shoulders, or really my upper back. And I have my hands grasped together. I'm gonna put my hands back down. So what you're doing here is this a nice stretch for your back. You're gently pressing your upper back and your neck into the ground, So you're a fish that's popping up out of the water. And you should have really active pressure in your butt muscles, your thighs. You should be using the bottom of your feet and even your hands to press up. So your whole body is active here. And then very, very slowly, starting with the top and the middle of your spine, you're going to arch down, really making sure to be gentle on your neck and your spine here. You can even press your belly button down and lower until you get to your tailbone. Nice job, all of my fish. All right, so from here, we are going to take maybe just a 1 or 2 minute Shavasana, which is, that's the Sanskrit word. It's the resting pose that comes at the end of yoga practice. You might like to keep your knees like this, bent. You can straighten them out. I don't have a lot of space here, so I think what I'm going to do is put the bottoms of my feet together and do basically butterfly pose, but laying down instead of sitting up. And I want you to start to listen to your breath. Use your imagination here. Maybe you want to pretend that you're an animal in hibernation mode, going into some winter rest that a lot of animals are, coming out of now that it's spring. You might also think about being a bug that's laying or sitting still. You might think about being yourself, laying on the grass, looking up at the clouds, feeling the warm sun on your face, and just relaxing. I think most of us could use a little bit of relaxation right now, more than ever. Notice how you're breathing. Close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And we're just going to rest here in silence for a minute. Now gently begin to wake your body up from its rest. Wiggle those toes, wiggle those fingertips. Gently roll into one side, and then sit up. How did that feel? Felt pretty good to me. So we are wrapping up our animal yoga practice in our first Facebook Live event. I don't know about you, but that was really fun and relaxing to me. I definitely feel more stretched out, and I want to invite you all to continue to check in and join us for our Facebook Live events at 11 a.m., most likely at 11 a.m. on Mondays, and we will hopefully be adding in another time during the week as well. Don't forget that we'll be highlighting different nature-based activities every day on our social media. And lastly, if you've got a question, you've got a comment, or especially if you have an idea for an animal yoga, animal-inspired pose that maybe you've done before or you thought of while we were doing this and you want to let us know, we'd love to hear what kinds of animal poses you're trying out and you're having fun with. All right? want to thank everyone again and wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and please stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.